positioning, and combos. Some of the skills that trip up new preservation players more than anything. This guide is 2 parts. First, positioning from good examples to horrible examples, and then how combos work so you can get started with preservation. I have a whole guide you can watch, but it's an hour and a half long, and I don't really go over positioning too much. So this video will shove you through the positioning and the combos, 2 of the hardest parts of preservation. My name is Bowser the Healer. I play way too much Evoker. Get subscribed if you like healing content or World of Warcraft. Appreciate you. Also, I stream on Twitch if you ever want to stop by to watch. It's Bowser the Healer, all one word, and there's a link down below in the description. When we say preservation has range issues, most of the moves only go to a maximum of 25 to 30 yards. We do have moves like Temporal Anomaly and some of our big emergency buttons that can go further, but we can't only use those moves. The best scenarios are in fact 3 melee DPS and a tank. This is the strongest setup for preservation. You can go anywhere, do anything, and there are no real positioning issues, usually. 2 melee DPS and 1 range isn't an issue at all either. You can always position next to or behind our range target if they're close enough, or you can go for a triangle positioning. Stand off to the side, sort of having the range to one side of you and the melee to the other. You can use your Dream Breath to get an idea of what this should look like. You should be able to hit everyone. You can throw a Temporal Anomaly through melee and manual echo the range, and you're good to go. If we have 2 to 3 ranged, the same can be done. You can position with the ranged if they're grouped up nicely and moved in, or you can triangle position and just Temporal Anomaly the range instead. That hitbox is massive, and I have a visual later, but it's not very hard to hit players in range like this. Also, if you need to just be in a position where you can heal the range, don't worry about the tank if it's a 3 range party. The tank is the easiest target to heal, and you have great tools for healing a tank, so don't feel like you have to always include them in the combo if they're, say, the only one in melee. The issues really start to happen when a DPS is in Turbo Narnia, so let's go over those. When one range is massively out of position, you can always shove yourself between them and the pack. As long as you're in range to echo them and hit the melee, you should be totally fine. And if they are out of range and you only need 1 hover, that's fine too. Hover will let you move and cast anyway, so it's perfect for this situation. When 2 range are out of position, you can combine both parts of what we talked about in the 1 range example. You can be in range of 1 and work on melee and then move to get to the other ranged unit. It might be possible to send a Temporal Anomaly through both of them from a position, but this isn't always likely if they're positioning horribly. When 3 range are massively out of position, first of all, it should never look this terrible, and second, 1 is likely more in range. Try to echo the 1 in range and temporal the last 2, or at least one of them. But this is where you can just rescue someone in and make your life easier. Using rescue to reposition may feel rude, but sometimes that is what you need. And if they get mad, they use a neuro silencer, or you simply can't heal everyone, it's time to say something. First of all, if damage isn't super high, you can always tell people to move in when and if they need heals. And let's say the damage is quite high and it's more dire, I like telling them to move in or die, as that tends to get the job done. After a problematic pull, you can always inform your group that you need them to move in a bit closer, especially when things start hurting. But even then, some people get mad, some people won't listen, and then you need to make the hard choice of, is it worth leaving? In Mythic Plus, it's all group finder. There is no real penalty for leaving, other than the key level going down. Now, I don't condone being rude about it, but I have left groups after trying to type to them to move in for me and they simply refused. There are some heal checks that can get that difficult, but it's hard endgame content. If people don't want to work as a team, then honestly, it's usually a them problem. But in lower key levels, players usually won't die unless they stand in actually every mechanic or they're extremely undergeared, and in higher level keys, everyone is expected to work together and bad positioning is on the players who refuse to work with the healer. So don't beat yourself up over others' lack of skill. This has happened to me less than 5 times across all of Dragonflight, so I wouldn't be overthinking it. And finally, I feel this helps a lot as a visual, but look at how big Temporal Anomaly is for a hitbox. It's absolutely massive. You can hit so many players with this if you have a nice lineup. Also, you can get about 5 yards behind you on Dream Breath as well. Sometimes I overthink where I need to be standing when someone's behind me, and this visual I think does a really good job of showing off just how far back players can be, so play around with this one and your ranged folk sometime. Okay, now let's talk about combos. I did go over this in my guide, but let's do a quick recap and we're going to go a bit deeper, so if you already watched that one, you're still going to learn something here. If at any point in my guide though, I say a manual echo or a full echo, I'm referring to just pressing the button called echo. Temporal Anomaly gives out a 45% echo with the talent Resonating Sphere. That is sort of expected, but I'll refer to those echoes as half echoes. Echoes copy spells, allowing you to send one heal and it's duplicated onto every target with an echo. Emergency spells like Rewind and Emerald Communion don't directly work with echoes. It's looking for you to cast a direct heal on someone or yourself, which means talents like Leaping Flames will not proc echoes unless you chose to directly heal. Let's say you did damage with a Living Flame and the extra Leaping Flames went to find targets that needed healing, those will not proc the echo. Also, every single move from an echo is a real copy, so any Living Flame or reversion you send out that gets echoed will carry their properties, like getting an Essence Burst chance or, say, giving out grace periods. Echoes allow you to either cleave heal with 1 to 2 echoes or full party heal. It all depends on how many people can be hit with an echo, and how many people can be hit by your spells. Temporal Anomaly is about to be said a lot of times in upcoming examples. It is the bread and butter for combos, but using manual echoes to hit people out of range or to give you a bigger heal are a good idea too. Remember your mastery, you heal more if your health is higher, so giving yourself the better heal with a full echo is a good idea. For cleave heals, you get to pick if you want to heal more players or heal a specific player in your cleave more. So let's say we echo 2 targets. If I heal a third non-echoed target, we cleave 3 players. But let's say one of these 2 people were hurting more. I can always heal one of the 2 players I echoed to double up on a spell, so sending 2 Living Flames in this example at one target and 1 Living Flame to another one. These decisions can be made on the fly, which is part of the reason Preservation is so flexible. But the big combos come from Temporal Anomaly, so let's just pretend your team stacks really well and go through some of these examples. Temporal Anomaly Spirit Bloom is a huge burst heal. Charge it up to level 3 or 4 and let it rip. Smart healing usually does a good job of distributing the heals as evenly as it can. Use this for healing up many players quickly in an instant. Temporal Anomaly Dream Breath level 1 is a big heal over time setup. Good for healing through periodic or rot damage, or for getting a head start on your teammates being hit with random spells. Charge up Dream Breath only if you need more upfront healing, but because you can choose to charge it up, you can make this choice on the fly. Temporal Anomaly Verdant Embrace to give Lifebind, then Emerald Communion. This combo requires the talent Lifeline, and it's some of the most healing that is capable in the game. And while your Lifebind is weaker through a half echo, between your self-healing, spillover healing, and the Lifebinds you do, it's a crazy amount of healing. Temporal Anomaly into Living Flames is a budget burst heal that uses little mana and can roll Essence Burst. If you have Leaping Flames from Flame Breath, this can look ridiculous, but it has a high chance of rolling Essence Burst, which can help you with Cleaving Heal, or do some damage with Disintegrate and get your mana back. Temporal Anomaly into Reversion is a budget heal over time that can roll Essence Burst. This is truly not the best heal over time, but it provides partial golden hours and full grace periods for bonus healing if you have it talented. It's a perfect as a combo cash out option if not a lot is going on. Bowser, what is cashing out? Cashing out is the term that I use to say that you are spending your echoes. If the team has echoes and you are using a Living Flame to heal, you're cashing out with the Living Flame. This is important because you can hold a combo. Echoes live for roughly 17 seconds. This means you have all the time in the world to combo. So setting up echoes and then doing damage is a fine choice because you're ready to go. If no damage came in that's worrisome, you can always go Living Flame or Reversion to cash out and hope for an essence burst. And because Temporal Anomaly's cooldown is less than the Echo timer, you can cash out and send out another Temporal Anomaly. We use this knowledge to perform a combo extension. You can turn one combo into another combo. I have two examples for you. Temporal Anomaly into a late reversion. Temporal Anomaly into a double Dream Breath. You need to have Grace Period talented for this, but you provide the reversions to get a 10% bonus healing on all of your teammates. Then double Dream Breath on top of all of those reversions for a massive heal over time setup. Then, if you need to, you can use another reversion to give the target a double reversion for double Grace Period. Yes, that stacks, which means the target will have 20% bonus healing. If anyone's hurting particularly bad, you can always use the double reversion on them with this setup to get them healing up a little bit quicker. Temporal Anomaly into a late Dream Breath. Temporal Anomaly into Spirit Bloom. This combo can sound like overkill, but imagine there's a mechanic, say Dawnbreaker's second boss, where there's a bursting AoE phase of incoming damage. You can use the double Dream Breath to start healing right before the incoming damage. Maybe also a Renewing Blaze to keep yourself higher health, and then as the damage is coming through and the burst damage really starts to hurt, you throw your next Temporal Anomaly and then full charge the Spirit Bloom. Now, the timing on this is tricky, but as long as you throw the Temporal Anomaly before the damage mechanic comes out and can get a double Dream Breath started, your Temporal Anomaly can then be back up for when the damage starts hurting and you can heal that damage back. I know this sounds tricky, and it is, but the more you throw Temporal Anomalies, the more you'll start to get a sense of, oh, okay, I can send this out before this mechanic and then I can heal afterwards with another one, and the timing becomes natural. I know it sounds a little weird, but I promise you, practice makes perfect here. Now, what if you don't want to send a Temporal Anomaly, but you want your instant cast Living Flames if you take that talent? The double. Echo Reversion, Echo Reversion. Any order that gets 4 reversions down. I like to put these on my DPS, but feel free to put them on a tank too. This is an awesome way to farm your instant cast Living Flame procs, but you don't spend your Temporal Anomaly. Fantastic as a pre-pull or when there's not a whole lot going on. And finally, Stasis. So first of all, for normal dungeon use, I like to pop Stasis usually at the start of a pull or right before a damage mechanic, and then I heal. And then once you've stored up moves in your Stasis, you can then heal with it later in its 30-second window. Remember that the cooldown for Stasis doesn't begin until you have all 3 moves inside of it, or until you cancel Stasis, and then it syncs that it's ready with the 2 or 1 that are in there. The more you use this move, the more comfortable it'll all be, and my big trick is to get 2 of the big 3, Temporal Anomaly, Spirit Bloom, and Dream Breath. Get 2 of the 3 in there, and you're golden. Now what about Temporal Anomaly inside the Stasis? If you have it at the beginning or the middle of a Stasis, you will add to the burst healing of the Stasis. But if you have it at the end, it'll act like a combo extender. So imagine you set up a Stasis with a Temporal Anomaly at the end. Then, maybe some 15 seconds later, you throw a Temporal Anomaly and you go to heal people. Then, more damage comes through, you can press Stasis. Now Stasis will launch all of its moves, ending with a Temporal Anomaly. Then that final Temporal Anomaly sets you up for your next combo, which you could then time with your Temporal Anomaly coming off of cooldown to extend further off of that combo. You might get lost here, that's totally okay. There's a lot of cool things that you could do with Stasis. And finally for you raiders, the quadruple Temporal Anomaly. Shove 2 Temporal Anomalies into your Stasis and chill until it's pulled. Don't press a single heal, you'll ruin your Stasis. Figure out where the first instance of raid-wide damage happens, and then, just before that mechanic, you can throw a Temporal Anomaly, launch your Stasis, and yes, 4 of these come out, which means you can smother your entire Mythic raiding team in Echoes, and then you can hit the fattest Dream Breath or Spirit Bloom that all of mankind has seen. Yes, you could Verdant Embrace here, and Emerald Communion. It's unbelievably powerful. Just make sure you let your teammates know so that they don't waste cooldowns where you're going to pop this incredibly powerful combo. And for my last trick, if you want to get a healing world record, Race to World First Raiders, listen up. Use Titan's Gift located near all of those red spells in your talent tree. If you get an Essence Burst with a damaging Living Flame, your quad Temporal Anomaly setup will be empowered, because it's technically an Essence ability, which is what Titan's Gift makes stronger. This means that the Temporal Anomaly echoes that get delivered will be 56% strong instead of 45%. So you're gonna hit something nasty with this one, and I just want to see this get used in the Race to World first. That's all. Cool little combo in case you're interested. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you have more questions about positioning or combos, I'll talk about them all down below. But until next time, I'll see you all soon. Take care.